I'm Angela. Which it's a group of 10 rainforest trees that are outside the Natural History Museum in Oxford. It's a horrifying statistic. But clearly something needs to be done. The science, the statistics, they're obviously just not getting through. And so I had this thought that maybe we should bring the rainforest to people in Britain and confront them so that they can see the trees, they can smell the trees, they can touch the trees, and they can really be challenged by this. And perhaps, you know, we could spark debate by this. So my idea was to create a ghost forest, and so that the absence really of these tree stumps that I was bringing over would represent the loss of the planet's lungs and the alarming deforestation rates. So that took me sort of virtually around the world trying to find a logger that was willing to cooperate with me. And you can say a lot of things about loggers, but they're not stupid. And I think they thought that if they cooperated with me, they would be seen very much as the evil logger. So I managed somehow to persuade a Lebanese logger in Ghana through various contacts to cooperate with me. And after about 3 trips out there and a lot of blood, sweat and tears that went into it, and a lot of adventures behind this, went on, as you can imagine, getting trees out of West Africa. It was a very painful and tough, and at times I thought that this would never ever work. The logistics were extraordinary, but anyway, we got them into Tilbury, into Trafalgar Square, where they were there for a week next to Nelson's Column, and it was a fantastic spot because Nelson's Column's 169 feet high, and there you've got these rainforest trees, some of which actually grow higher than that. So people came and they just looked up at Nelson's Column and just couldn't believe that here we have a rainforest the size of a football pitch being destroyed every 4 seconds. What is going on in the world? So it was a way, really, of that awful world engaging, but it really did engage the public. I then took them to Copenhagen, and they are now outside the lawn of the Natural History Museum in Oxford, the Pitt Rivers. And there is a fantastic amount, I mean, millions of people have seen these trees now. And every week there are busloads of kids on educational programs see the trees outside the Natural History Museum. And I've got a small short film to show you, which tells a little bit about the story, but it starts off, I've cut it so it starts where I'm in the Sahuma forest and the trees are coming out of the forest.
Can you tell people, I'm sure they realize, but these were trees that had fallen down naturally?
Yes, I did not cut these trees down. Thank you, Elise. No, very good point, and keep picking me up on any other points. These trees are from a sustainably logged forest, so I liked also to think it wasn't a story about doom and gloom. They are very, very like the sustainable forests I was hearing about in Peru. They are responsibly logged. Ghana has lost 90% of its forest. It's, in the last 50 years, it's only got 10% left. So it is now trying to exercise a sustainable logging system. And so 7 of these trees fell naturally, and so we have got the root system. And 3 of them are logged from commercially logged timber. So that was my way of reflecting the provenance. And I should say that I had a week of these trees being in Trafalgar Square, and Deutsche Bank put up its hand. Brilliant, they sponsored us. I've just been told that we've got another year in Oxford. So if you know of any willing sponsors, it would be fantastic. Because people often say to me, what is the cost of this project? And I say, what is the cost of not doing it? Yeah. But of course, the honest truth is that it does cost a lot. And so if we have any willing sponsors, fantastic. And next year, July 2012, I will have to find a permanent home for these trees. The 300-year-old Denia, which is 20 tons, is going to last, they reckon, another 200 years. So it would be a fantastic installation. Anyway, let me just show you this film, if I may. It's very short. And then, of course, it got onto the road. It was still 350 kilometres, and I'm still pulling my hair out. Is it going to make the ship? I'm afraid it bashed into a taxi along the way, and it took down some overhead cables between two towns. But it did make it.
I felt this could be an electrifying experience for young kids from school, right through to politicians, if we could get them into Trafalgar Square and get them to walk around a dead rainforest and say, look, this is what we're going to have left unless we act. It could be very powerful.
How are you going to present a 20-ton tree? One tree weighed 20 tons. To get that into Trafalgar Square on a platform in front of the National Gallery, well, that night in Trafalgar Square, when I went down to see the trees arriving, that was just so emotional when I saw the big Denia coming around the corner in the darkness with the red flashing lights. Unbelievable. I just had to pinch myself because I couldn't believe it's actually happening after so many months of really sweating it out. And my children were there, my husband was there, and it was just to have a family there it was very, very moving. It was incredibly moving. This beautiful great-grandfather of all trees had made its way, it was arriving into Trafalgar Square. Having come so far, that was an extraordinary moment. I suppose I hadn't really imagined the privilege to have one's artwork in Trafalgar Square was extraordinary because it was an open air, it became an open air art gallery.
In the morning, rain had fallen on the square. It was glistening like a mirror. And you could see the columns of the great buildings, these great colonial, massive, powerful buildings that had actually been responsible for cutting down these trees so many years ago, reflected in the light, in the water on the square. And there were these trees on white plinths, challenging everybody around there, and it was silent. And just a few people started walking through, commuters on the way to work. So, bloody hell, what's that in the square? That shouldn't be there. And then later, school children on their way to school. And their teacher stopped them and said, what's this? What's going on? And he said, it's a rainforest tree. A real one? And they started touching, feeling, smelling.
People got different things from it, that was for sure. And that's what I wanted. I thought that no response is right or wrong. Some people came along. They saw it purely for its ecology. Some people came and they had deep-seated meaning for them, if it was geographically, culturally, politically, and it was exciting for them to see it, to see this nature in its raw form. And other people very much felt it was a political message.
And it was an incredibly moving experience to see all these people going through the square, and I watched them all day and talked to people. And for them, I think, just to be able to reach out and touch nature and to be reminded that this is not the sort of forest we want to see in the future. And there is absolutely no doubt that it really did have an extraordinary effect on the people walking through the square all week.
I was just amazed to see tree roots in the middle of Trafalgar Square, and so big.
Quite a stunning position for them when you walk through and see them. So it's beautiful.
Very intriguing, and you want to know more about it, and then when you learn more about it, it's just so sorrowful, really emotional and sad.
It's given the opportunity to thousands of people to actually see these things and actually sort of look at them, touch them, read about them, and actually think, well, actually these things are being destroyed, and we live on the one planet, and these large trees, they help balance the gases, the carbon dioxide, the oxygen and so forth. They're part of our livelihood, and if you carry on chopping them down, then you're risking the whole environment, the whole ecosystem of which we're part.
Very, very proud of the fact that someone's actually decided to put Ghana in a very positive light to show that it's not all bad in Africa.
Minimum sort of 2,000 people an hour over the sort of core periods of the day will have seen the installation.
And it is an incredibly inspiring exhibition, and there's great beauty to these trees, and I hope it does inspire people, and I hope they put pressure on me and political leaders, because we need the best agreement we can get at Copenhagen.
And then, of course, it got onto the road. It was still 350 kilometres, and I'm still pulling my hair out. Is it going to make the ship?
I think I must have hit a button. Do you want to try and start again? I think. Yeah, I know it started again.
Bashed into a taxi.
I'm trying to stop it though. Andrew, I really apologise. I can't believe that happened. Anyway,
but
I just want. I mean, just careful what you wish for. I love the idea that Angela came up with this idea that in a way started off as an incredibly small idea, and then just ran with it, and just by sheer will and force and energy of one artist managed to achieve so much. I mean, it's just mind-boggling. It's just the scale of it and the achievement of it, and how many people it actually interacted with and continues to interact with. I think it's just incredible. So Angela, I think brilliant. I'm going to